Are you ready for an epic adventure? Join us as we explore the wild and treacherous world of monster waves and the fearless surfers who risk everything to catch the 7 oils hidden within them. These oils are the ultimate prize for any surfer, but with danger lurking at every turn, only the most skilled and daring can claim them. So hold on tight and get ready for a thrilling ride as we dive into the heart of the ocean and uncover the secrets of the 7 oils caught in monster waves. Don't miss out on this incredible journey. Hit that subscribe button and let's ride the waves together. Number 7. Norwegian Oil Rig. The North Sea is a body of water shared by the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Denmark, Norway, Belgium, France, and Germany. It is home to the most active offshore oil rigs in the world as of 2018, with 184 in service, with 175 monster waves, often known as rogue waves. They are capable of causing damage to even the largest oil rigs and cargo ships. The North Sea also has some of the world's largest rogue waves. Just ask these guys on board a Norwegian oil rig in October 2024 if they failed here. Harder for failure or off here is a rogue wave. Technology caught up, and we began tracking these waves with digital tools. Still, rogue waves are extremely rare. Number 6. Nord Oil Field. Do you believe the ones in this video meet the requirements? Let us know in the comments if you left Kristiansand's, Norway, and traveled 81 miles into the Norwegian Sea to find the Nord Oil Field. Norday, a gigantic floating oil platform, would be found. The Nord Oil Field was identified in 1986, and drilling plans were approved in 1995, with production beginning in 1997 and continuing until 2016. Nord produced 167 million barrels of oil and 11 billion cubic meters of natural gas. The Nord Field's waves can be somewhat erratic. Mother Nature has an interesting way of blending beautiful beauty and raw force. One rig worker recognized such combination in February 2023. This footage really emphasizes how daring you have to be to work on one of these rigs. The newer day was meant to last until 2013, but additional oil discoveries nearby extended the rig's life. Modifications done between 2016 and 2022 will allow the ship to operate until 2040. Number 5. The Judy and Join Oil Rig. Life on the sea is difficult. Shift times and patterns vary from rig to accident according on the future connectivity. Rig workers from a payroll compliance organization can spend 2 to 3 weeks on the rig and another 2 to 3 weeks off the rig. In early 2017, the crew of the Judy and Join oil rig in the North Sea was prepared to return home after their shift. They were barely 150 miles from Aberdeen, Scotland. Hughie's intentions were cut short by a severe storm. I was standing on the edge of the Judy and Join platforms, water depths of 246 and 259 feet, respectively. The weather in the North Sea may be somewhat unpredictable. Look at how those 50-foot waves crash onto the catwalk. Workers arrive and depart via helicopter from Judy and Join. Unfortunately, the storm made flying extremely dangerous, leaving this crew stranded. They stayed on the rig for 3 extra days while waiting for helicopters. Hopefully, they received adequate overtime compensation. Number 4. A semi-submersible platform is what the Borgholm Dolphin is. They are stationed around 145 miles off the coast of Scotland in the North Sea. When drilling in waters deeper than 1,700 feet, it is essentially a floating oil rig. You cannot construct a stabilizer platform. Oil companies instead rely on floating platforms supported by massive pontoons. Because the working deck is located so high above sea level, it is usually rather stable. When a storm approaches and the waves begin to rise, the entire rig can begin to bob. If you're prone to seasickness, rig work probably isn't the best career path for you. According to James, our videographer, you're staring at a 15,000-ton building that's bouncing around like a bath toy. On January 10th, the storm hit. Fortunately, they were aware of the impending storm and were able to prepare. As tremendous 40 to 50-foot waves crashed into the Dolphin, James continued to record. To put that in context, imagine standing next to the Hollywood sign in California. Each letter stands 50 feet high. Transocean Winter. When drilling platforms have reached the end of their useful life, they are carried to scrap yards all over the world by tugboats. On August 7, 2016, a Transocean winning rig was on its way from Norway to Malta when it became stranded in stormy seas. It was the region's worst July storm in years. Winds gusted to 40 miles per hour, and 30-foot waves smashed into the rig and tugs. The Victor broke away just as they were leaving the North Sea. While the tugboat radioed the Coast Guard for assistance, the 33-year-old 17,000-ton vessel sailed towards the Scottish island of Lewis. But how do you catch a rogue oil rig? Easy. No, you don't. The winner was brilliant orange in color. It had rusted over the years, yet you could still see it from miles away. But the storm was as dark as a curtain. Our tugboat couldn't see beyond its bow. They never noticed the bright orange rig swaying in the North Sea. Radar data provided an absurd picture. The tugboat appeared to be retracing its tracks in an attempt to locate something it had misplaced. That item, of course, was a giant oil rig. It washed up alongside a graveyard. The BBC reports that little more than 50 liters of diesel fuel were poured into the river. They weren't going to take any more towing chances this time. Instead, they placed the winner onto the Hawk, a large offshore cargo vessel. The Hawk then transported the oil rig to Malta, where it was dismantled for pieces. Finally, the winner was transported to a Turkish scrapyard. Its final resting place, number 2, Gulf of Mexico. In 1942, we began drilling for oil in the Gulf of Mexico. Since then, about 6,000 oil and gas structures have been constructed off the Gulf Coast. Some can only stand in 10 feet of water. Others are far deeper, at approximately 10,000 feet. There are currently 3,200 operational oil structures in the Gulf of Mexico, including all deep-sea rigs. In 2018, one of those deep-water semi-submersible structures became entangled in a violent storm. Rig worker risked the lower catwalks to get footage of the enormous waves crashing into the vessel. The waves grew bigger and bigger and bigger. The mist from the crash goes all over our cameraman's lens at one point. But kudos to him, since operating in the Gulf of Mexico is a difficult assignment that I would not have undertaken. During hurricane season, waves like this crash into these rigs all the time. According to the NOAA, offshore rigs are built to withstand gale force winds and severe weather. Every facility built after 1988 was designed to withstand 100-year storms. That is, freak storms that have a 1% chance of happening. Number 1. Iranian oil industry. The Iranian oil industry had a difficult year in 2013. Sanctions imposed by the United States to dissuade Iran's nuclear program reduced sales by 40%. According to the oil minister, income was down 45% before China stepped in and rescued the day. The industry then experienced another significant setback in early February. The Pars Oil and Gas Company had spent the previous 3 months constructing a new $40 million oil rig. It was eventually ready to launch in the Persian Gulf's South Pars gas field. According to the oil minister, income was down 45% before China stepped in and rescued the day. The industry then experienced another significant setback in early February. The Pars Oil and Gas Company had spent the previous 3 months constructing a new $40 million oil rig. It was eventually ready to launch in the Persian Gulf's South Pars gas field. Then tragedy struck. Fortunately, everyone involved was uninjured. It took 3 months to construct and just 30 seconds to sink. You're standing there watching 4 million pounds in steel and oil drilling equipment drop 260 feet below the surface. We're still not sure what went wrong. According to Time, the details are still hazy. Worse, the rig was never able to drill for oil. They had no choice except to ride the tractor to its demise.